Death, it seems, was always near at hand. Death, it seems, was always near at hand. That's how this story starts. And wow, you sent this in, and that line, it just, I don't know, it grabs you. This story, the law at different elevations, that opening, it sets up this whole feeling like death is always there.
Yeah, like right away you feel this seriousness, almost like something bad's gonna happen, and it kind of hints that things happen over and over again, which we'll see in the story.
Exactly. And for everyone listening, this deep dive is happening because of one of you. The story is the law at different elevations.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we want to do here is really get into this story, find those big ideas and those twists and turns that really got to you.
Yeah, and it jumps right in, doesn't it? We're thrown into this tense meeting between these two guys who are so different. U.S. Marshal Brett Thompson, he's all about catching these bank robbers. And then there's Leon, this almost mythical mountain man living alone. Their first meeting is as tense as it gets, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. You've got the marshal, tired, outnumbered, staring down the barrel of Leon's rifle. Right there, you see who has the power, and it's not the lawman. And the way Leon's described, more like a bear than a man, it really shows how wild he is, how connected to the wilderness. What do you think about that power dynamic, how it flips things?
Totally. You think Marshall, you think he's in charge, but out there in the mountains, that doesn't mean much. And then bam, the unexpected happens. Instead of, shooting, Leon lowers his gun and invites the marshal into his cave. Changes everything, that moment.
Yeah, it's not just a change of pace, It's like the normal rules, the expected fight between a lawman and someone like Leon, it doesn't apply here. And the cave itself, it's interesting, right? This little shelter, almost a home, carved out of this harsh wilderness, that buffalo hide separating it from the cold savagery outside. It's like a visual symbol of the two worlds these men are from.
And something as simple as sharing food becomes this, turning point. The marshal, even though he's suspicious, takes food from a guy who is just aiming a gun at him. You can almost feel this respect starting to grow between them in that little cave.
And the way Leon positions himself is subtle, right? He's not an enemy, he's more like a guide, someone with knowledge the marshal needs. Telling him about the robbers' likely route through Elk Pass, it's not just helpful, it's like he's establishing his own authority in this specific situation.
But on his own terms, definitely.
Right.
Talk about the watch in the sun, that's a great example. Leon follows a different clock, a natural one, and the marshal's fancy watch can't change that. And the way he keeps calling him Tin Star, what do you think that means?
That's a good one. On one hand, he's acknowledging the marshal's role, his badge, but there's also this, almost dismissive tone, maybe even a bit of affection, like the badge doesn't mean much to Leon up in the mountains. Really shows the difference between them.
And even with that tension and how different they see things, you get this feeling Leon is drawn to the marshal, like he's enjoying this connection. When he says he waited to tell the marshal about the robbers because he wanted to make conversation, it's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about Leon, do you think?
I think it shows there's more to him than just this tough exterior. Maybe he's lonely or at least wants to talk to someone, which you wouldn't expect. And the marshal, to his credit, he seems to pick up on that, even though he's obviously frustrated about the delay. You feel that conflict in him between his duty and this weird connection he's forming.
And then comes this huge moment, the warning. Leon, after being hospitable, giving info, he tells the marshal to give up, calls the robbers bad men, and says the mountain should handle them. That's the first time we see how differently Leon sees justice. What do you think about his view?
Oh, it's completely opposite to the legal system the marshal represents, right? For Leon, justice is about the natural order, like nature itself will punish them. It's almost a survival of the fittest thing. And when the marshal says he has to do his duty, Leon's response, just, then I will. It's chilling, It shows what he's capable of and what he thinks is right, even if it's not legal.
And that leads to this, crazy alliance. The next morning, the marshal's ready to go alone, but there's Leon ready to go with him, saying the old ones told him to protect the marshal. This brings in this whole other side to Leon, this mystical side. What are these old ones, do you think?
That's what's so cool about this story. Are the old ones like real spirits, part of some mountain legend Leon believes in? Or are they like a symbol of how connected he is to nature, his intuition about the mountains that feels almost supernatural? The story doesn't tell us for sure, which is great. And the way he says they talk through the rustling of tree branches, it adds to this image of him being like a shaman or something.
The marshal, he calls Leon an Indian right away, which again shows that cultural gap. He just can't understand Leon's worldview. But even though he's skeptical, He takes Leon's help, but warns him about the danger.
And Leon's answer is so important. Up here, you ain't the law. That's the whole heart of the story in one sentence. It's the clash between the law the marshal represents and this primal, almost situational mountain code that Leon lives by. What does that make you think about?
It makes you think about what law and authority really mean. Does the environment itself have a say in what's right and wrong? As they travel through this tough landscape, you really see how much the marshal needs Leon. The altitude, the weather, the way Leon moves through it all so easily, it shows how much he knows this different elevation.
And their conversations along the way, they're not just filling space, they're showing us their moral compasses. When Leon talks about the war and why he left civilization, you see a man who acts on what he believes, not just what society says. What did you think about his reasons for becoming a mountain man?
It shows he's disillusioned with society, like he found a different kind of order, or maybe a lack of order, in the wilderness. And then we find out one of the robbers is the brother of someone the marshal arrested before, which adds this personal element, showing this cycle of violence that's hard to escape.
Yeah, it reinforces what Leon said about letting the mountain handle things. For him, it's not just practical, it's about breaking that cycle, letting nature resolve things without more bloodshed.
And then finding Lonnie Cates, dead in a trap, it's brutal. It's like the mountain did deal with him, like Leon said. What was your reaction to that?
It's a harsh reminder of how dangerous nature is, and it definitely makes you think about Leon's point of view. And the other robbers, they just left him there, which makes them seem even worse, and maybe even justifies Leon's way of doing things.
The journey to the cabin, it's really tough, and it shows how much the marshal needs Leon. He's fighting the elements while Leon's like, at home. Even how they see distance differently, it says a lot about how they experience this landscape.
Exactly. And Leon smelling the smoke from the cabin long before the marshal can even see it, it shows how sharp his senses are, how in tune he is with the environment. It's another way the story highlights his unique skills and his connection to this different elevation, right?
That part where they talk about Leon killing Hal Sackett, that's important. Leon's just like, he set bear traps. I told him to stop. He didn't. Dangerous business, bear traps. It's so straightforward, this primal kind of justice. What do you make of that?
It's like a local system of accountability, right? You do something wrong, you face the consequences directly. And then he says Sackett was setting traps near his place, which adds this element of self-defense. It wasn't just about rules, it was about protecting himself.
And you can feel the marshal struggling with this. He thinks maybe Sackett deserved it, but he knows what Leon did was illegal. It's that difference in how they see justice playing out in his head.
And Leon's response, I already told you, Tin Star, you ain't the law up here.
It's like he's saying the mountain makes its own rules, that man's laws don't apply here.
The fight at the cabin, it's fast and violent. What Leon said about the wind stopping, it happens, which shows how connected he is to nature. And the gunfight, it reminds you of the violence the marshal's trying to stop.
But what's really important is Leon sacrificing himself. He takes bullets to save the marshal, like the old ones told him. What did you think about that? It's the climax of their weird friendship. Even though they see law so differently, he dies for the marshal. And even as he's dying, he says, I'll be with the old ones soon, Tin Star, and listen for me. He believes it right to the end.
And the marshal, he's sad, but also respects Leon more now. He knows Leon saved him, and he's sorry he died. Even when he says, I don't want no damn ghost to haunt me, you can hear some affection and maybe some fear of Leon's beliefs.
And the ending, it's so powerful. The marshal takes his badge, the symbol of the law, and turns it into a winged thing for Leon's grave. What a gesture. What do you think it means?
It's like he's bringing their two worlds together, recognizing Leon's way of justice, his courage, his sacrifice. It's like he's saying there's more to law and justice than just the official rules.
He spends the night in Leon's cave, which at first was so strange to him, and now it's a place to think about everything. He's dealing with death and how much Leon changed him.
And at the grave, he says he wished he'd known Leon better and apologizes for his death. You can see the bond that formed between them, even though they started as enemies. The image of the dying leaves, it's like the loss of life, and it echoes that line about death being near at hand from the beginning, brings the story full circle.
It does. The marshal leaves the mountain, a changed man, remembering Leon, and maybe seeing law and justice differently now.
Definitely.
Okay, so listener, what stood out to you in this story? It's this amazing contrast, right? The marshal's strict by-the-book law versus this natural, almost instinctual law of mountains, all about survival and Leon's connection to the old ones. Makes you wonder, where real authority and morality come from.
What's really interesting is how much Leon believes in the old ones. I'm sure they told him to protect the marshal and that he would die, and that they talked through trees. It's so different from the marshal's logical way of thinking.
So here's the big question for you. What do you think about Leon saying, up here, you ain't the law? Do the mountains have their own rules for survival and justice? Or is the marshal's way, always following the law, the only right way? Think about those different ideas of law.
It makes you ask if law and morality are the same everywhere. Are they absolute, or do they change depending on where you are? It's something to think about long after you finish the story.
It is. Thanks again for sending us this amazing story. We hope this deep dive helped you see it in new ways. And if you find any other sources that make you think like this, send them our way. That badge changed into something new. It's a powerful symbol of their connection, made in the wilderness.
It really is. It shows respect and reminds us that sometimes the most powerful forms of justice aren't found in the official systems,